How are we doing, guys? So this video will be about the Supercopa de España and whether if I think it's a elite tournament or is it just a tournament that is based to earn money for the Spanish Federation, and we'll go a little bit on detail more about the teams that participated and the specifics of obviously the final and what happened, and whether if I think the place that it is occurring right now in Saudi Arabia is a good place for this tournament to continue being there. In order to put everybody in context and to understand what the Supercopa has and what teams played and what not, because sometimes it's difficult, we are confused with the Super Cup of Europe and some other tournament that you don't really know, like the World Cup of Clubs that it is happening this year. So the Supercopa de España, it has 4 teams right now. We have to remember that the Supercopa de España prior to this was just only the first from the league playing against the first in the cup, which obviously was the one who won it. And right now the format, the way that it is that the 2 first teams of the league, so the first and the second, play with the first 2 teams in the cup. So it will be the 2 finalists. In this case it was last year Athletic and Mallorca, that Athletic ended up winning the Copa del Rey, and Real Madrid and Barcelona, who Real Madrid end up winning the league. And from I think 4 years until now, they have been playing in Saudi Arabia because of a deal that the famous Rubiales did in the past, where the federation is getting around 40 million from the Arabs, where in theory 20 million is divided into the teams that are participating, not equally, which is something that I think it should be looked at, and then the 20 million that it goes to the modest football in Spain, which is like the second federation, first federation, also the youth teams, so they can at least have some development in there and the youth players keep coming, like we are seeing in Barcelona, for example. So after we have talked a little bit about the concept and we understand what the Supercopa is and who plays, we're gonna go in detail about the games that happened. So we know that Athletic Club played against Barcelona, and Barcelona won the game with Gavi scoring a goal. That was pretty good to see after seeing the guy having to go through an ACL injury with his young age. But we also saw that Athletic wasn't. I am wearing an Athletic jersey, by the way, and we are seeing that Athletic didn't really put maybe all the effort that the team needed to put. Obviously facing Barcelona, which is one of the best teams in the world, and I think they accused the way of how they were playing out of the back. Unai Simon wasn't playing too good, Vivian wasn't playing too good, Paredes wasn't playing too good, so it made the team didn't perform as well as I think they are capable of, because obviously they have been a very good team in the league. I think they are sitting 4th right now. Athletic playing the Champions League could be something very big, but they also want to win the cup probably this year again, but they have the European League final in San Mamés, which is a very big thing for the city. And in the other side of the semi-finals, we had the game between Real Madrid and Mallorca, which probably everybody has seen, the thing between Vinicius and Pablo Maceo that is happening every game that they cross against each other. But the important point for me in tactically talking, I think Mallorca thought about a game that was 0-0 and they wanted to go to penalties because they didn't really create chances other than a header for Larin that I can remember. And once the Bellingham made the goal, the 1-0, everything like fall apart and they started to get into more arguments, and that's how the game ended, with the Asensio getting with other Mallorca players and all the crap that happened after. It wasn't really good to see in a soccer game, and nobody wants to see that. So leaving the semi-finals and passing to the final, we're going to talk about what happened between Real Madrid and Barcelona. We know the result. We know that ended up 2-5 for Barcelona, and basically, in my opinion, I think Real Madrid threw this game into the trash can. I think defensively they played really poor. Probably in every goal that you can see, there was a defensive mistake, and there was for me 2 of them that were pretty clear. In the one that Lewandowski went to receive the ball, pass it to Lamine Yamal, then Rudiger was out of position, either Tchouaméni or Mendy tried to cover the position of Rudiger coming out of the defense, and Lamine was against Courtois, that he only had to dribble a couple players, or not even dribble, just fake the shot, and it was a goal. And then the second one, that for me is the most important one, because the Rafinha had a chance in the prior to Madrid scoring, prior to Mbappe scoring, he had a chance. It was exactly the same. It was a cross from the right, having in between Tchouaméni and Lucas Vázquez. He missed it. Well, in this case, Courtois saved it. But there was a second time where he did the same thing, and obviously Courtois couldn't save it. Courtois did very good in the first two chances, but I mean, you cannot ask the man to be Spider-Man and save everything in the goal. Other than that, I think this game leaves Real Madrid or Florentino Perez with the thinking that something needs to be replaced. I don't think Lucas Vázquez can still play as a starting right back in this team. I don't think Tchouaméni can either play as a center midfielder or as a center back in this team. Obviously he's really young, and we cannot doubt that. The same with Camavinga. They have to develop, but I don't think Real Madrid is the team where you develop. I think it's the team that you come and you perform. If they have to wait for you, I don't think that you're in the correct space, because Real Madrid is like, for example, what is happening with Mbappe. We saw a goal from Mbappe, and we saw some of the Mbappe that we were used to see at the end of the game, where he made a terrific touch. I think he passed Koundé, and then he went one-on-one with Araujo, and it when Araujo had the yellow card. But other than that, I think Flick really knew how to put pressure on the team from Real Madrid, and it was basically, if we see the heat map, we see that the line of Real Madrid was here, and we see that Camavinga and Fede Valverde were here. There was a whole space in here that nobody was in it. Neither the centre backs were dropping in or stepping up, or neither Valverde and Camavinga were covering, and that's when the space that Lewandowski took in the goal that I was talking about before, where he came in and passed it to Lamine Yamal, where he ended up scoring. And as I said before, I think the Real Madrid needs reinforcements. I don't think they have been doing them, basically because Ancelotti was doing magic with the players that they had at the moment. But I think now with the injuries of Carvajal, Militao, Alaba not being back, not having Kroos, and obviously I think that was one of the things that happened in the game as well. I think not having that kind of control of the game with a player like Ceballos or with a player like Modric, that you end up putting both of them together when the game is 1-5, and you score one at the end of the game that could probably save Ancelotti's position, because if the game was 11-11 for 30 more minutes, I think that game can end at like 1-7 or 1-8, and I don't know if Real Madrid can deal with that kind of result in a game like this. It's just the club is not capable of dealing with such a bad result, I think. Leaving the tactically and the game itself outside of the picture, I wanted to talk about the referee. I think the referee made 2, even 3 mistakes that shouldn't be something that happens on a game of this scale, because everybody's watching the game. Like, it was a Madrid-Barcelona in Saudi Arabia. There was a lot of expectation, and it leaves the Spanish soccer in a pretty bad position, I think. I don't think you can miss the penalty from Gavi and Camavinga, and I don't think you can miss the red card from Szczesny and Mbappe. I think those are, obviously, I honestly think too, and nobody could correct him because it was a second yellow card. I think Camavinga should have been sent off too. But that's my opinion, because of the one that he grabbed. I think it was either Cazador or Gavi, I can't remember exactly. But it's something that you shouldn't be missing. If I can do it from my home, it's the same thing if you go to the TV and say, oh yeah, it's a penalty or it's a red card. The level of refereeing shouldn't be based on what I can see on a TV after they tell me. It should be, if I call it and then I can correct myself, okay, that's good enough. But I don't think the system is letting the referees decide by themselves. I think it's basically telling them, okay, don't call anything, and then if something happens, we'll tell you. And it's the opposite of what should happen. I think the referees should have the confidence and the level to see something and say, okay, penalty, okay, red card. And if it's not, they're going to tell them, but they are killing their independence, I think, based on what I've seen today. And the last topic that I wanted to talk about doesn't have to do anything with really soccer itself. It's more about the culture, about what this tournament means. And I honestly, based on what I've seen in the past, in these 3 or 4 years that it has been in Saudi Arabia, I think the federation, and the Spanish Federation specifically, basically wants this game or this tournament to be a final between Real Madrid and Barcelona. We have seen in the semi-finals that it was an environment of a pre-season game. It could be whatever. There is nobody from Athletic that I'm wearing the jersey and Mallorca that are gonna go and watch a game in Saudi Arabia on a Wednesday or a Thursday. It's not something that the team can afford to do that, and therefore there is not that many Saudi Arabians that are gonna be fans of Athletic and Mallorca all of a sudden, but obviously everybody knows Real Madrid and Barcelona and they're going to want to go to the final. But if that doesn't happen, and it has happened in the past 3 years, that we have to remember that casually, that Real Madrid and Barcelona are on the final. And the other topic that I think I have to highlight is the things that happened after the game between Real Madrid and Mallorca. So I don't know if you've heard, but there was people, especially families from the players from Mallorca, that had incidents coming out of the stadium. There was no security given by the Federation of Spain, and there were ugly things happening to moms with kids, to older parents that didn't have to deal with this. So it is something that shouldn't be happening to this kind of it's a tournament that everybody should be enjoying and seeing from the TV or even in the stadium. The Saudi Arabians don't really get to see Real Madrid all the time, and the time that they see it and this happens is something that doesn't fit on my head, and it was a reflection that I wanted to share with you guys to see what you think about it. So this finishes my video with this last reflection that I wanted to do on the European football going to Saudi Arabia. I know, and it's pretty obvious that it's because of the money that it can bring to the Spanish Federation, and it won't have that much money if it happens in Spain. I know I'm not stupid, but I think if we need that money, we'll have to put some resources and some things that can happen in Saudi Arabia to prevent these incidents to happen. And on the soccer part, I think Real Madrid needs to be looking into the transfer window, either now or in the summer. But the situation that happened now and the situation that happened in the previous Clásico, I don't think either the fans are going to accept it, and either Florentino Perez are going to accept it. And I think Barcelona comes really reinforced. They have now Dani Olmo and Pau Victor with them. They have to really think about what they're doing in that sense. But I'm really happy that Araujo played good today. I'm hoping that he can stay in the team, because I think he will be a very good addition to the rotation of the team. And now with Íñigo Martínez being out, I think he will be a great centre back in the future for this Barcelona team, obviously being the captain that he is right now. So I hope you like this video and how I analyze the Supercopa and what it means for the Spanish Federation and the Spanish clubs this tournament. And if you have anything else to tell me, you can leave it on the comments and let me know what you think. Thank you very much.